Yo, this is the Ancient Texan. Been absent for a while, and I might call this podcast, this particular episode, My State of Mind. Not sure that a lot of people care what my state of mind is, but it might not be too much different than your state of mind, or you might find it in contrast to your state of mind. Well, my state of mind is being affected by the fact that tomorrow morning at 6:30, probably 7:30, uh, I'm going to get a operation on the inside of my nose and deviated septum on one side, and something needs to be stapled down on the other side. Then I go for a week, and then I get all the staples and stuff removed. So I go a week breathing through my mouth. It bothers me a little bit thinking about that. Anesthesia scares me a lot. The last time I had anesthesia, I was getting a stent put in my heart, I think 2017-ish. And I was talking a lot to the doctor that was, running the joysticks, putting the stent in my heart. And at some point, he looked over to the anesthesiologist and said, "Why is this guy awake?" And the anesthesiologist said, "Because I've given him double the dose that should knock out anybody, and I can't give him any more." And so the doctor made a deal with me that if I'd quit asking him questions while he was trying to do a difficult procedure, he would record it on video, and then he would play it back to me and we could discuss it then. But that if he screwed up, it was going to kill me. I thought a pretty sound argument. Oh, and I know I opted to stay conscious when they operated on my knee. And I was lightly out of it when they operated on my wrist. And I felt quite a bit of pain in all those cases where I stayed awake, but the pain doesn't scare me. Getting zapped by, chemicals that put you dead to the world and then bring you back to life later, that's a pretty scary thing. So 10 years ago, I didn't think I was afraid of anything, and my wife's helped me learn to identify that emotion and know when I am afraid. Yeah, that kind of scares me. Can't say I'm terrified or anything, but it definitely is little funny feelings in my stomach. I'm also following the political landscape, and I haven't had much to say lately because I feel like I'm in such a different planet than the Democrats or the Republicans. There's a big thing going on now about how, Trump cheated on income tax and had the scheme to avoid taxes. Of course, Jeff Bezos hadn't paid taxes forever, almost pays none, and he's like the richest guy on the planet. Bill Gates doesn't pay a lot of taxes. Warren Buffett doesn't pay a lot of taxes. The difference is Trump's a stupid and selfish billionaire. The others are smart, successful billionaires. And I wouldn't even say that's probably not true. Trump's not stupid. Trump has a moral compass that's, all out for himself. Although I'm not sure the other billionaires don't have the same thing going on. Guys like Warren Buffett at least say, it's not fair that I pay less taxes than my secretary. But Trump, the difference is, Bezos and Buffett and Warren and all those guys avoid taxes legally. They have really good lawyers that know what the hell they're doing. Uh, Trump doesn't pay half the people that work for him, and he doesn't tend to get the best lawyers. And Trump apparently didn't get the best people to avoid taxes legally. He probably avoided a lot of legal taxes too, but he avoided some illegally. And in our society, if you avoid taxes and don't pay your fair share, and you do it legally, that's okay. That's hunky dory. Take advantage of all the loopholes, find them, manage your money in a way that maximizes tax. Tax avoidance is smart. It's okay. We consider it moral. Illegal tax avoidance, meaning you don't cross all the T's and dot the I's according to the legal laws, which they're like, 55,000 volumes of IRS code. It's incredibly complex. It used to always piss me off that, I'm a PhD educated guy, pretty damn good in math, and I always screw up my taxes. And it's not on purpose. It's just so damn hard. And I can't afford a lawyer because a lawyer would cost me more than the taxes. I remember one year on dividends, I went down and I listed dividends. And then the last entry, I put $100 for unaccounted for dividends. Well, sure enough, I missed one that year. And I was on the phone and they're going down the list. And sure enough, I'd missed one. It was like $29 of dividends that I didn't declare. And the guy wanted to know why. And, how could I miss that? Because he had the 1099 miscellaneous whatever form in front of him. And supposedly I was supposed to have that form in front of me when I misfiled it. Who knows what the hell. It's probably my fault. I admit that. And he says, we're going to have to charge, you the tax on that $29 and then a penalty. And I said, yeah, but what about this item right here, unaccounted for? He says, well, what is that? And I said, if I miss one, I paid an extra $100. I took credit for $100 of dividends in case I missed any. And he said, well, I don't know about that. I said, this is the one I missed, and that's what this is for. And you guys are pocketing, the $71 a difference. And it goes to your favor. If you want to refund me that, that's okay. But I'm willing to pay a little extra, make sure I, do it all right and don't break the rules. This last year, I just got a refund back from my taxes, my business taxes, of $645. Because I anticipated being some penalty or something doing wrong. Well, I had a $345 penalty, and I overpaid my taxes by $1,000 because I always screw up. Sure enough, I did. They took $345 out of the 1,000. Of course, they, their whole letter is really nasty because it's kind of like, here's your penalties and things from screwing up, and kind of in the fine print, we owe you $645 because of an overpayment, which is also considered an error. So we live in this really crazy world where fairness and tax code are just like oxymorons. You can't even have those two words in the same sentence. And we use our tax code to take care of everything. We're trying to take care of childhood poverty now with the tax code. And so we're going to refund people money that have children. And so it's like getting an extra $300 a month. And so they can send those checks out. But the irony is they can't send the checks out to uh, people that are too poor to pay taxes. They don't even know where the hell those people are. That's the world we live in. That, your identities, your friggin' taxes. So in that sick world that we live in, Trump is in trouble because he didn't play the rules right. And I don't give him any credit for uh, intentions. I think his intentions are often bad. I'm not sure he's ever thought of anybody else in his life except maybe he thinks of his children or his daughter or somebody. So in the political world, that's what I'm thinking about right now is the, Trump taxes. And another favorite subject of mine is global warming, because I'm actually an engineer with a fair amount of knowledge about energy consumption and use. And guess what? The Europeans have passed uh, a plan for to meet climate change and global warming. They put a carbon tax in there. I don't know a lot of details about their plan, but as soon as I heard that, I thought, wow, they're serious. I hear about our plan and how so many trillions are being thrown at it, but no one has enough guts to use the word carbon tax. Apparently, Australia is also putting a carbon tax on, starting small. Even China, they're calling it uh, uh, trading system, CO2 trading system, and they're starting out small. But that's kind of a precursor to a tax. That says to me they're more serious than we are. So we continue to muddle along and think that we're smart enough to list all the things we need to do. And if we throw trillions of dollars at it, we could do it. I have no confidence at all that the Democrats or the Republicans or the national government in general is smart enough to know what the hell needs to be done next with global warming. It's a complicated problem. It needs creative solutions, and a lot of money doesn't necessarily make creation. You have to have a policy that rewards creation and creativity. You need to have a lot of money in R&D and looking for new solutions like thorium reactors and metal battery storage. But you need to reward solutions to the problems and not dictate the solutions. We're just not smart enough for that. I don't care how many trillions of dollars you got behind you. We're not smart enough for that. That's my opinion, in case you were wondering. Another part of my state of mind is um, I've got two dogs, two Jack Russells. One of them, Ashton, will be 18 if he makes it to September. Oh, he's getting where he pees all the time, and I'm cleaning up pee a lot in the house. I can tell everybody else in the house has kind of lost patience with Ashton. But we've been together a long time and been on a lot of journeys together. So it's hard for me to give up on him. And he's still happy to see me. He still likes sitting with me and calms down knows where I am and can't see very well, but his nose can still lead him to me. Then I got Bungalow, who's 6 months ago. He's 10, half Jack Russell. Sweetest dog in the world. Wow, is he sweet. They told me about 6 months ago that he had cancer in his liver and would be dead in a few weeks. His abdomen has swollen up, and a lot of times you can tell he's in discomfort. But he still likes hanging out with me, going on rides, going on walks. Still pretty damn strong. I actually think in some ways it'd be kinder of me to put him to sleep than Aston, who seems to be in no particular pain, just kind of la la land a lot. So I think of my dogs and state of the world and politics and all that. It's funny that sea of stuff goes through my head when I'm worrying about, will I wake up from the anesthesia, or, will I have bleeding in my nose, or whatever the hell can go wrong with an operation and infection. I'm told that, I had a sty in my eye a few months ago, and the infection went all over the place, and I was afraid it'd get in my brain. I'm thinking, wow, I squeeze a little sty and cause all that problem. They're going to stick a truckload of tools up my nose and break bones and all that. And that's, how many molecules of germs do I need to get? They even had me, do a COVID test on the 13th. I was supposed to have 6 days of quarantine. Of course, I live by myself, my wife, and got my daughter and stepson kind of passed through to their bedrooms. So I haven't exactly been quarantined, but I came out negative on COVID and I'm vaccinated. So hopefully that's not an issue. It's not my top 10 issues right at the moment. I also go to Zoom meetings for UUFN, Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Newark. This morning we had a person that's non-binary giving a talk. And I want to say I really liked her, even though her had a beard, but she refers to be called to as them, because she sees herself both as male and female. Although it seems strange that your sexual preference dictates your pronouns, because my sexual preference doesn't dictate my pronouns. I guess my gender does. I don't know. I don't really care what pronouns you use for me, but I respect that them wants to be called them. And I will try to do that because I like to try to, be nice to people and do what they want to do. And I don't find that too much of an imposition. Although I do have questions like, I have a guttural reaction of saying her, because that was my perception, and I use the pronoun that's consistent with my perception and with my habitual and traditional and historic use of pronouns. And I also think it's very silly to be defined by, I think it's very silly to be defined by my sexual preferences. I've got a lot of kinks, and I don't think calling me he or her have much to do with my kinks. It's kind of I don't know. I just don't quite make the link there. But it's okay. I don't have to make the link or actually understand it. I do very much believe in the freedom of speech and that it's a personal preference. Anybody what pronouns they use when they're talking. I think it's a kind thing to use the pronouns that people like you to use, and I, if asked nicely, I will try to do that. I don't know how successful I'll be, but I will make some effort in that area. And I found the person whose name I can't even remember, because we didn't actually talk much about her name, which I'd rather use her name than her pronoun, than them, her, than their pronoun. Wow, that's hard for me. And I've already forgotten my train of thought there. I guess that summarizes my feelings or position on that. Oh, I know. I was saying that I believe that you know freedom of speech still dominates, and you can't make a law about making people use pronouns because it kind of trumps the freedom of speech card, which I think is really damn important. Well, while we're doing an inventory here of my state of mind, I'm still working on a magnesium project in Vancouver, and I can't go there because our two countries can't get together what a vaccine card looks like, and if that's sufficient. We've raised a lot of money recently, like $5 million or $3 million or something, but it's millions of bucks. And so we're starting to order equipment, and the project's starting to actually roll pretty fast. Although fast now is much slower than it would have been a year ago because everybody is now ordering equipment and stuff. And so we're in a queue that's a lot longer than the queue was a year ago when we didn't have money. So it'll probably be 2022-ish, I'm guessing mid-year, although right now they're projecting first quarter 2022. I think that's optimistic as hell. So I'll call it middle of the year 2022. Hopefully COVID will be behind us in the rear view window and I can fly up there well before that. Although a lot of the critical decisions are actually being made now over Zoom. Zoom world works for a while, but your personal relationships kind of slowly deteriorate with Zoom. I think you need some personal contact and skin time. The other thing I'm doing, I don't know if I'm quite halfway, but halfish of the way on my second book now, second novel, Mexico 2090. Really like doing that. A lot more than I like playing Zoom engineer. Oh, I could like engineering if I'm almost always hired to make somebody else's idea work. I'm considered enough of an expert and knowledgeable enough that I still get pretty good pay. At 73 years of age, 74 Christmas. And I think I'm still mentally pretty astute, although I do have senior moments where I can't find a word, especially people's names. But my ideas still flow pretty well. And I notice when people get older, they start talking real slow. When I'm tired, that happens. But most of the time, my brain works at pretty much normal speed. A lot of pauses, but that's from being a Texan. So I really enjoy the crap out of writing. I find it fun. And I've got several other. I've actually got 8 novels that I'm trying to write. Some of them, that are erotica. Uh, Enjoy that, and I would like to share some of my more liberal views about sex and sexuality. Kind of creeps into my main books too, but not kind of side issue, probably like it should be. So as I face surgery, I think, damn, I haven't finished my books. Been writing quite a bit today in the last couple of weeks. I worry sometimes what my kids will think about my books once, if they don't, if they read them before they die. But they had a chance to read them while I was alive and talk about it. So that's their problem, I guess. Although I suspect it does keep me from writing some things I want to write. In fact, I've got one book that's like 85% finished. The Merging, about a past lover. It's been fictionalized and turned into a lot of symbolic uh, kinks that kind of represent the reality of and the restrictions of an old man that's married falling into a young woman that's married problem. So it's kind of skates into an alternate reality. I don't know how that works, but it's either brilliant or it's really stupid. But it is what it is. And I probably will never see the feedback from that because I haven't had the guts yet to publish it. Plus, it's not just guts. It's got loose ends that I just can't quite. It's 2 stories being told simultaneously. One that the illness and ultimate death of my late wife with cancer, and a imaginary an affair. What was kind of imaginary, and the 2 stories running together, uh, independently and yet obviously connected. Uh, and how that's possible, and how we have different people existing inside of us all at the same time, and you actually can be true to both at the same time, and they both make sense at the same time. The Merging, maybe someday you'll get a chance to read it. um, it's probably a little above my ability to write. I mean, I'm a decent writer, but it's a big jump for me, both in writing and just philosophically. It's challenging. Yet I think there's something there, and I'm trying to grab it. And that kind of stuff really interests me. Morals, values, how they get applied to everyday life, and all the gray between the edges. My state of mind. I realize I'm rambling a little bit here because this is the night before the big operation, and kind of wanted to just get stuff off my chest. Hope you guys have a good day. Hope you enjoyed Wimbledon, even though my hero Federer lost. Got to admit, though, Djokovic is a damn good player. Probably the best of all time. I hate to say that, but I think he's still got a good career in front of him if he doesn't get run over by a Mack truck. I could go on like that, like if Federer won one of the 3 match points against Djokovic in Wimbledon 3 years ago, 2018 maybe. There'd be a gap of 2 between Federer and Nadal. It'd be a whole different world. But Djokovic had 3 match points against him by Federer, and he won. That's not a trivial feat. Federer serving, and you have 3 set points against you, and you lose. You don't lose. I mean, Djokovic didn't lose. That's pretty damn amazing. But I am really seriously digressing. This is the Ancient Texan wishing you a good day, and I hope I'll check in after the operation. If not, it's okay. It's not okay, but so it is. Anyway, try to be true to your values and do what you think's right. Namaste.